Now this is an important video. If you get into the resources section, you'll see we have a zipped file. Within that there are 3 files. Now one of them is a new assembler. So it's called new assembler 1. It's got the same name as the previous assembler. So what you want to do is grab a copy of that and overwrite your existing assembler. Now the reason for doing this is that I've put in a finalized version of the assembler. So through the rest of the rest of this course, you won't ever have to change this assembler ever again. It's the final version that we use. So that's a good thing. Now the other file is the actual simulation file for Logisim. So again, if you're using a previous version of the simulation file, I would suggest you use this new version. The new version has got all of the subroutines throughout most of the rest of the course already all loaded. So it means that for the next, I think 20 or so videos, you won't have to change that simulation file. Okay, so it'll be fixed. Now the last file is the Excel spreadsheet, which I have used to generate our microcode. So again, if you take a copy of that, that file will last you for the next 20 or so videos. So that's quite important that you, if you're working along with me and you want to run my simulations, that you grab those files and you start using those files. So that being said, there is one change, and this is really what this video is about. So there's one change to one of the commands. So I think that's not too bad considering the number of commands we've got, and we've come this far without having to change anything. And in fact, whenever we change this one command, we don't have to change any command again for the rest of the course. So I think that's actually quite good going. So the command that we're going to change is the push command. So if you take this example here, when we worked through the graphics library and the mathematics library that we have so far, we used this push command here. So if I wanted to push a value onto the stack, I would just say push n. Okay, now if we define n down here as the value of 48, it would just pass the value of 48 straight onto the stack. So we've seen that before. That's how all of our code has worked previously. But I've decided to change this one command, and there's reason for changing it, and you'll see it whenever we come on and look at using vectors and matrices. So the change that we're going to have is that whenever we have this push value, we're going to have to put a little bracket round about it. Okay, so the little bracket says push the value 48. Now if we don't have that bracket now, so if we don't have that bracket, what it will actually push is not the number 48, but the address location of that number 48. So it will pass the number 0 cross 8100. So if you were to take the new assembler that we have now, and you place the new assembler in, and then you wrote this piece of code, the new assembler wouldn't pass in the number 48, it would pass in this address. So you would have to make sure that whenever you write your code from now on, or if you have some code that you have already written and you're pushing the value onto a stack, then you'll have to go back and put the brackets around it. Okay, now it's not really a big deal. All of the subroutines that I've written are still the same. Okay, it still receives the number in, so the subroutine doesn't care whether it receives the number in using one method or another, it just receives the number in. Okay, so as far as the subroutine is concerned, everything's still the same. It's only for the test routines for the calling functions. So the calling functions will be expecting there to be a bracket. Okay, so we have to use that process from now on. So not a big deal. I think it's quite a reasonable fix, and it's really useful for us to be able to either pass in the variable value or the address. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.